Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Good day to all of us. Ako po si Deborah Garcia and welcome to this series where we will practice the things that we learned from the past lessons that we had. Today we are going to practice the things that we learned from this lesson from the Conversational Filipino series. I hope you still remember all of them. If not, go ahead and rewatch the video and of course, take down some notes. So, handa na ba kayo? Mag-practice na tayo! For our first activity, let us warm ourselves up. So we are going to have a reading activity. So I prepared 3 sentences for you. I wrote the verbs that I used in these 3 sentences here. So number 1, we use the root verb punta, which means to go. Aral is to study. And then number 2, we use the verb salita or to speak in English. And in number 3, we use sale. And sale means to join. So let us read these 3 sentences here. Number 1, gusto kong pumunta sa South Korea para mag-aral ng Hangul. Number 2, kailangan kong magsalita ng Korean. And number 3, gusto kong sumali sa K-pop group. Okay, your turn. You have to read these sentences as smoothly as you can, the way I did it, so that this is lesson 15 already. So you should have practiced reading enough Filipino sentences from the previous lessons that we had. So your turn. Okay, I hope you had a nice practice there. Now remember these sentences as well as the verbs that we used in these sentences because, of course, in the next slide, I would ask you to translate these sentences into English. All right, here we go. In lesson 15, if you can still remember, we discussed the differences among these 3 underlined words here. Number 1 is gusto. It could be like or want. And then number 2 is kailangan, which is need in English. And then number 3, there's another gusto. You need to figure out whether this one is a like or a want. So you should be able to understand the thought of each sentence before you'd be able to use those 3 words that we learned from lesson 15. I am going to give you 1 minute for these 3 sentences to be translated to English. Your timer starts now. So your time is up. Let us compare your answers to my answers. All right, number 1. Gusto kong pumunta sa South Korea para mag-aral ng Hangul. In English, I want to go to South Korea to study Hangul. So gusto here is want. In English, we translated it as want because, as I said in the lesson, in English, if it has something to do with a plan, then you should use want and not like. So that's a translation there. Number 2, kailangan kong magsalita ng Korean. In English, I need to speak Korean. So by the way, Hangul and Korean, they're the same. In the Philippines, we don't really say Hangul. I want to speak Hangul, but we just say I want to speak Korean, just like in English. All right, so number 3, gusto kong sumali sa K-pop group. Gusto here is still want because it has something to do with a plan of joining in a K-pop group. So the gustoy number 1 and the gustoy number 3 are the same. They are translated as want, not like. All right, I hope you got the same answer. Let's go to the next activity. For today's last activity, I am going to give you 5 sentences here, and you are going to identify if these sentences are true or false. Or in Tagalog, we say tama if the sentence is correct, and mali if the sentence is wrong. So we don't say true or false, but we say correct and wrong. Okay, so these 5 sentences were taken from the conversation I gave you in lesson 15. If you can still remember, there was this agent booking a flight, and there's a customer who wants to book a flight, but the customer had some specific wants and needs about the flight. If you can still remember the details, it's good, but if not, you can go ahead and rewatch the video. For now, you have to read these 5 sentences with me, and let's see if you can keep up with me in reading these sentences. So, number 1, kailangan ng customer pumunta sa Manila. Number 2, gusto ng customer sa tanghali mag-travel. Number 3, kailangan ng customer ng upuan malapit sa CR. Number 4, $600 ang presyo ng plane ticket. And number 5, 11 ng gabi hanggang alas 2 ng madaling araw ang flight. Sorry about that. I read 1 in English and the other time I read it in Tagalog. It's because in the Philippines, if you watch the previous lesson, you would know that we say the time actually in English, but the specific time of the day, like morning, evening, afternoon, we say it in Tagalog. So we can say alas 11 ng gabi, alas 2 ng madaling araw, or we can say 11 ng gabi, or 2 ng madaling araw ang flight. Alright, I'll give you 2 minutes because you still have to figure out the meaning of each sentence here. So 2 minutes would be enough time for you to analyze if the sentence is true or if it is false. Your timer starts now. All right, your time is up. You can go ahead and pause this part to check your answers. So if you are enjoying our practice so far, if you think that my videos help you a lot in learning the Tagalog language, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. And that is all for today. I hope you enjoy learning the Tagalog language. See you again in the next practice. Bye!